So what comes to mind when you hear the word e-bike? For the past few years, this has been a topic of controversy in the mountain biking space. It breaks down to something like this. Team A believes that e-bikes are for the fat and lazy, and that they overcomplicate something that should be mechanical and void of electronics. Team B, on the other hand, celebrates the progression of mountain biking technology and believes that e-bikes allow athletes to ride longer and the less than athletic to have a chance at keeping up. As for me, I like to think that I'm unbiased and can understand where both teams are coming from. Today, I'll be reviewing the first ever e-bike on Cure Cycling, and I'm excited to see how I feel about them after some real trail time. Before we get started, I'd like to say a big thank you to Encore Bike Rentals in Bentonville, Arkansas. They provide a unique rental service where you just tell them the time and trailhead, and they meet you with a bike that's ready to rip. Today, Encore was generous enough to supply me with this beautiful test subject for our review, a brand spanking new Fezzari Wire Peak. I'll be riding this size large Elite build, which includes a DVO Diamond E3 fork, a RockShox Deluxe Select Plus shock, Shimano M6100 brakes, a Maxxis DHF Dissector combo, and a full Shimano SLX group set. This is the middle build of 3 that Fezzari offers, and I'm stoked that Encore would lend me something this nice. Make sure when you're booking your vacation to Northwest Arkansas to not forget to book your rental online with Encore. In fact, tell them Jared from Cure Cycling sent you. To start the Wire Peak, all I had to do was click this button and toggle between the 3 available modes. There's Eco, Trail, and Boost. Each mode increases assistance respectively. For today's review, I'm back in Slaughter Pen since it has a good variety of flow, tech, climbs, and descents. Tyler, Mr. Encore himself, was kind enough to take the lead today and spice up the follow cam footage. When I ride in Slaughter Pen, I like to park at the bottom of Phase 1 and work my way all the way to downtown Bentonville via the concrete. There's one particular climb, and if you've been here you know it can feel like an eternity, so I like to get it out of the way first thing. Plus, this would gauge how much the e-assist would make my life easier, and wow, it was remarkable. I couldn't even tell I was on a bike that weighs somewhere between 50 and 60 pounds. It was also immediately evident how intuitive the Shimano e-bike motor was. It adds and pulls power so seamlessly, sometimes you forget you're even being assisted. Once we made it up, it was time to drop into All-American and start sampling how the Wire Peak feels on trail. Right off the bat, the e-bike magic was prominent. Aside from the extra speed in the flats, I found also that the bike wants to build speed in the descents from its burly low center of gravity.
So I have it on trail right now, and the amount of extra speed is so good. I mean, this is quite the toy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm following Tyler, the owner of Encore Bike Rentals. He's pretty fast, so who knows, maybe I'll get faster today. Just trying to keep up with this guy. I suck at left-hand turns.
As for climbing, this bike absolutely destroys climbs. I'll get into that more later.
Yes, pure glory. Oh, this is wonderful. Yeah, it feels good, man. This is good.
As for jumping, I won't lie, I was more timid than usual jumping this bike. There's definitely a different feel off of lips when your bike weighs almost double what you're used to. With time, it became more natural for me, and I'd assume if you own one, it would eventually just become second nature like anything else. In the flowy, fast trails, as I mentioned before, The Wire Peak builds speed like crazy. It provides for an adrenaline-filled experience, but proceed with caution. I did notice that the e-bike takes more effort to stop, and that should come as no surprise given its weight. By no means was it a runaway train. In fact, the supplied Shimano brakes were more than adequate for the job. I just think it's something that someone who has never ridden an e-bike should know. In the more technical chunk, the Fezzari Wire Peak is an absolute plow. I felt incredibly comfortable navigating the bike through a large variety of rock gardens. Overall, the suspension provided by DVO up front and RockShox out back was easy to get along with. The RockShox Deluxe Select Plus is an underrated shock that feels great in a variety of terrain types. If I had to nitpick, I'd say that the DVO fork is not as sensitive on small bumps and chatter as my Pike Ultimate that I ride most of the time. But again, that's me just nitpicking. The fork is supportive and ready to take on some big hits. Towards the end of the day, we did some cross-country style riding to get to know the bike in ways that I normally wouldn't even get to know a bike. There was one particular tech climb on a trail called Angus Chute I wanted to showcase, but my GoPro apparently glitched out and that clip was lost entirely. Classic. But basically, the Wire Peak made climbs like these a joy to ride. For riders like myself who may not completely be fluent in technical climbing, you'll find that e-assist can make you feel like a superhero. When you don't have to think about whether or not you can supply the needed power for a technical climb, you can just focus on your line, execute, and enjoy yourself. This was a major attribute that made this bike special. I believe, in a way, that e-bike riding can make you a better rider even on your old school acoustic bike. As our riding day came to a close, I noticed I had only gone through less than half of the battery. We probably did somewhere between 10 to 15 miles of riding, and I spent most of my time enjoying the more powerful assist modes like Trail and Boost. Normally by now, I would have been pretty tired. Currently, I'm good for 20 to 25 miles tops, but with this thing, I wouldn't have had a problem committing to a 40-mile day. In conclusion, the Fezzari Wire Peak taught me that e-bike doesn't mean mountain biking as we know it is dead, or that e-bikes are ruining the sport. It really just means there's another way to get out there and enjoy it. For athletic riders, it may just mean twice the adventure in half the time, or maybe another option when you're feeling sore from yesterday's ride. For folks who need the assistance, it can level the playing field and allow them to enjoy what I consider to be a life-changing hobby with their more athletic friends. Either way, filming this review in no way has me wanting to sell my regular mountain bike. I won't lie though, there's a strong likelihood I'll be adding an MTB to the fleet when the budget allows. Thanks for watching, and remember the ride is secure. I'll see you next time.